It just went on. Look at that. I got it. We are
It
live.
works.
Hello, beautiful
All
people.
right. Are you there yet? Okay, there you are.
It just went on.
Yay.
Oh, that lag, right?
I know the lag. I'm always like, I gotta pause that so I'm not listening to the lag because that throws me off completely when we
Throws you
talk.
off. I hear
But
you.
we're live and you are with Amy and Jackie for Designing Your Life. Today we're going to talk about the purpose of wealth with a purpose. Wealth with a purpose.
Yes. Wealth with a purpose. And what's the purpose of wealth?
Yes. And today of all days, Black Friday, where
Today.
maybe a lot of you are out shopping today or you're online shopping and taking advantage of some really great deals, whether you need them or not.
Right? We really
It's
need
great
that
for
3D
Christmas
printer.
presents. Yeah. That's why we're here instead of shopping online. And I
Well,
thought it was, oh, yeah. Well, you've had many more hours than I've had today. So I was busy working on talking about our Black Friday deals for our wholeness coaching and strategizing with people and being able to bless others with this great work that we've discovered and get to do. So that was a really good distraction from shopping online.
just become a strategist and you won't have to shop forever.
Exactly. There you go. You'll be way too busy.
Way too busy. There
Oh,
is
my
there's
goodness.
definitely that time and talent that you pour into this work as far as wealth is concerned. So,
Absolutely.
what is wealth with a purpose, Jackie?
Oh, my
Do you know what
goodness.
that is?
Oh, well, Amy, we've learned contribution, generosity, just being able to contribute to the good in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And not just wealth, like financial wealth and everything else, but your time, your talent, your treasure. What are we doing with that? How are we contributing those bits of wealth from ourselves? God really gave us such a great purpose and using our wealth. But speaking of that, are you familiar? So, do you hear, which way do you hear this Bible verse? Money is the root of all evil, or the love of money is the root of all evil?
So I've heard it say money is the root of all evil, but because I'm well versed in that particular Bible verse, it's definitely the love of money is the root of all evil, which, we could substitute the word money, that noun, money,
Mhm.
for food.
Yes.
The love of food is the root of all evil, or the love of, and another noun.
And I could have answered you before you asked me that. Um,
I was going to warn
spending time
you.
on social media,
Yeah,
or
is the
the
root.
love of ourselves, the love of you know, but I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, so many of us can relate to the love of food, and I mean, and I think of that and I go, well, yeah, food has a purpose, just like money has a purpose. Like, everything has a purpose. Are we using it for those
Right,
purposes? So, yeah,
right.
because I did
Yeah.
look up 1 Timothy 6:10, and it says, for the love of money is the root of all evils, and some people in their desire for it have strayed from the faith and have pierced themselves with many pains. And
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting that you brought up food, and what are our other addictions, the cell phones and the internet, just wasting
Drugs.
time and things like that. I mean,
Yeah.
even though it says the love of money, I everything, all of
Yeah.
those things are just, they do, and they create pains in us,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't even realize it. I mean,
And conversely, the opposite of that, and it's not to say that there's the love of poverty, because that's a little different, but there's a love, there's poverty that um that physical poverty that can cause a jealousy, a rooting of just anger or envy. And that, yeah, it's actually like more envy, which is that I want to kill, I want to harm someone else because they either have something more than I have. And it's that competition and comparison.
Uh-huh.
And then it's also that victim mindset. Like, I'm a victim of this, I'm a victim of that. I'm, um, or, all of, I'm this, I'm that, rather than seeing, your poverty, if you're in poverty, or that it's still a place that you can contribute. It's
Mhm.
still a place that you can give from, right?
Right.
So it's like you really do need to be careful whether you're extremely rich or whether you're extremely poor, and anybody in between. We have to own that, the place in our heart for God,
Yeah.
and have that definite space for him. So we don't have that love for self, and that love for money, and that love, for envy of somebody who is more rich or wealthier than who we are. I mean, that's also, oh gosh, is it the ninth or 10th commandment? You know?
Yeah. Well,
Don't be jealous of
that
your neighbor's stuff.
number,
Yeah,
yes.
one of those numbers.
Absolutely.
Don't be jealous of your neighbor's stuff. Just plain
Yeah.
and simple.
Yep.
It's that wanting to keep up with the Joneses, you know, uh, you know,
Well,
I
and
think
then,
so.
we find that our happiness becomes dependent on those things.
Mhm.
And, we believe, oh, if I just had this, I'd be happy. If I had a bigger house, if I had a better car, or, whatever the case may be. And I think this is where, like, I love the arenas and how we've gone through each one of them, because then it makes more sense how they relate to each other. Because all I can think of is contribution, whether you're wealthy or
Mhm.
whether you're poor or in between, which so many are. You have contribution. Like,
Yeah.
everybody can contribute regardless of the status of your bank account, or, the types of vehicles you drive, or the house you have, or, whether or not you can provide for others. And,
Mhm.
you know, I think we all have a desire to contribute, like, to our family,
Mhm.
obviously, in every way, shape, or form. And so much of that is like, what are we giving to them? Like, we can hand
Yeah.
our kids all this money in the world, but are we also, like, helping them to be their best selves? Or are we creating entitlement and, those types of things? So, like, wow. There are so
Fine
many
line that,
things to unpack here.
oh, yes, yes, because, and too, with wealth, it's not just the treasure, it's also the time and the talent.
Yes.
So if you're investing in the talent that you have and the time that you have into your wealth, let's just say you're an entrepreneur, right? And you're trying to create money. Well, that's okay. That's
Yeah,
fine to do,
absolutely.
because you have this talent, you have, you have the time to do it,
Mhm.
and you notice that, your kids need braces, or your kid really has a talent for the piano.
Mhm.
Well, it's okay if you acquire that wealth through means of your talent. That's and this is where, like, a lot of people are like, it's, is the root of, no, 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 no. I
Right.
am creating space for my kids. I'm creating space for my husband. What if I wanted to go on that date night, but I
Right.
didn't have the funds for it,
Right.
or that vacation that you've been really dreaming about? That's okay. Or let's just say you're in a place of poverty and you're really trying to work to get yourself out of it
Right.
by, maybe taking out a small business loan, and creating or going to school. I've had some friends of mine who, got pregnant out of wedlock, and they used the system like it's supposed to be used,
Right.
got themselves out of, they were able to provide for their children because they were able to have a college degree and because the state was able to come in and help them out. They used what our collective wealth was for
Right.
in a positive way and got themselves out. And it's like, gosh, that's just a very beautiful way to rise above that situation,
Right.
and not be that victim, like, oh, I'm in poverty and I'm, this mentality of, this is where I can only stay.
Right.
Is that a true, and like, will that hold up in court? You saying
Right.
that will
Yeah, is
hold
this
up.
statement true? We really have to take those statements and ask ourselves, is this really true? Or is there a solution to this problem? Because I think that we do kind of sometimes get stuck in that mentality of, I can't do this. Or, and on the flip side of that too, while you were saying that, it kind of brought up in my mind, like something that I've always struggled with, because I love to support small businesses. I love to support my friends who are, contributing to society, or in whatever way that they are, whether it's us as coaches or it's, our friends who have health businesses, or, they have, I used to sell bags, all of those things. Like, what I always try to remember is that, like, I'm getting my stuff from somewhere, right? And so how important is it that I support those that I know and love, as opposed to the big names? I won't even mention their names, the big stores and the big, companies and things like that. Because I do hear, like, in a lot in society, talking about, the greed of big companies and things like that. And I totally get it. I understand and I agree with that. And then, so my challenge to people would be, then support those and love, who are trying to create that source of wealth. And it doesn't even mean that they become like multimillionaires. It's just, what are they trying to create for their family with that business that they're running? And
Yeah.
what can I do to help contribute to the support of that? Because I have to buy, my supplement somewhere. So I'm going to get them from my friend who, has been taking the, for 20 plus years, and she's contributing to her family and I'm contributing to my family. So let's work together to contribute to each other. And that's where I think our time and talent comes in too, because what is it that you're good at? What is it that you're passionate about? And you're bringing that opportunity to your family, but also to your friends. Because, like, I want to be generous to my family, but I also want to be generous to my friends. Like, if I could pay for a girls' weekend, sign me up. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it means other friends couldn't go. No, if I have that kind of, ability, I'm going to take it, because that's what we all need, And that's where I feel like God calls us to contribute also to each other. It's clearly states that those who have more, what is it now? It just went out of my head.
Oh, the talents. Yeah, actually we
like
had
those
that.
of us that have more should give. And so, I've always wanted to be able to have the resources to not just contribute and have my family well off, but to have, that ability to say, oh, I know someone in need. Yes, let me help, and supporting our churches, supporting, just all of those beautiful things. So I could go into all those different areas, but just kind of summing up what you were saying, and, like showing out, because money really is neutral.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not good or bad.
There's no morality tied to it. And and another thing too is, like, we have that power belief where at first we think it's absurd. Like, I could never make that much.
Right.
But if you think about it and you're like, well, that's crazy. but it would be awesome, right?
Yeah.
You go from absurd to, it's crazy, but it would be awesome, to possibility of, maybe I can give this a shot, right?
Yeah.
And then you go from possibility to, I can
Yeah.
definitely do this. And then, of course, it was absurd that I didn't even think that I could do this at first, but now look at me. I am rocking it.
Yep.
So that is the power of belief, where you go from absurd to, I can't believe that I thought I could do it. And
Yeah.
it's that, that scaling of, wow, this is amazing. It's that kind of stomach turning of, yeah, you know what? I can do this. I can make this for my family.
Uh-huh.
I can make this so I can give in a contribution, in a contributing way,
Right.
even if it's talent and you can't give of money, or even if it's time and you can't give of talent, right? Oh,
Right.
that's absurd to be able to, go to the sisters, or, a soup kitchen of some sort. Whatever. It's the
Yeah.
power of belief. You go right through that. Wait a minute, maybe I can, and
Uh-huh.
then you make it happen. And that's the same with your talent. I'm, maybe you have a really good singing voice, and that talent, shouldn't be put under a basket, right?
Right. Right.
Um, so you're kind of thinking, maybe I could sing at weddings, but that's absurd. I can't do that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I will be singing at everybody's wedding.
Yeah.
So it's the power of belief, whether it be monetary, whether it be talent, whether it be our treasure, So
Absolutely.
I just thought
And
I'd say
too,
that.
like when you think about it, when we were talking earlier about, the the thought process, like what are we doing instead of these things? You can't ever get the time back that you've lost, but you can
Mm,
always move forward in giving of your time now. And
mm,
but also, like, I feel like that just goes along too with our purpose. Like when we discover what excites us, like, you were saying, well, maybe I can't do that, but what if this gift of mine was meant to contribute not just my talent, but also, to your family, or, just in general to your own livelihood, so that you can, like, when did we get to a point where we thought that using our talent, we shouldn't ask for money? For example, bakers. Like, I know so many people who bake beautifully. In fact, I have one friend who I can think of, and her daughter has the best macaron, however you pronounce it correctly, they are to die for. And, it's just like, how do you get to a point where you feel like it's okay to ask for money in return for those services?
those gifts.
But you have that gift, and the world needs that gift, but
Hmm.
the materials cost money, the time and
Hmm.
effort you put into that costs money. And so, I would love to see us become a society where we just totally support and embrace that. And yes, maybe I can't afford your services, or your gifts and your talents, but I'm going to tell everybody I know who can afford it to go do it. So then
Right.
my contribution isn't financial because I don't have the means to do that, but I still have the means to help spread the word about that. And I think
Yeah.
that's such a gift that we can contribute. And I don't think we associate that with wealth. I mean, we hear wealth, I think all of us probably immediately think money, being rich, whether or not you're generous. That's, like you said, keeping up with the Joneses and things like that. So I love this recalibration of, like, what is my mindset about wealth? And
Yeah.
I think it changes not just us and how we see money, but it also changes our perspective on other people taking their gifts and talents and using that as their source of income, or, whatever the case may be. So I think it works both ways.
Absolutely. And, even in, in poverty, you can give of yourself. I mean, you have the scripture of the woman in the, what do they call it? The coin, the miter.
Oh, was it the widow who put her last bit of money in?
Yeah. You have, stories of that nature, but then you also have saints who were kings or queens and princesses who, they had money, but what did they do with it?
Right.
They were generous with it. And then you have people like Saint Francis of Assisi who, rejected it for whatever reason. I mean, that's his own personal heart. Obviously, we can't judge it.
Right.
But he rejected it. Okay, he wanted to live in poverty. As a matter of fact, there was this, so this was recent, I want to say within the last year. There was a gentleman over in Palermo, Sicily, who I want to say he was a monk or a brother of some sort, of some order. And I want to say it was Franciscan because it was a brown habit.
Okay.
And that's every time I see a brown habit, I'm like, Franciscan.
Franciscan, yeah. But don't test me on it, but I right.
But he was also rich, and then he denied everything, and he literally just ate. He was with the poor. He slept on the streets with the poor, and he recently passed away. And you should have seen the amount of people that came to his funeral. It was like, I was like, why have I never heard of him? I wanted to go see. I should have gone seen him before,
right,
before he passed away. But in his time and in his treasure and his wealth, that was his wealth. He gave of himself.
Yeah.
So there's never an excuse to not give of yourself. Never an excuse of, I just don't have it. Yes, you do. Some way, somehow. If you're in church and they're coming around with a basket and all you have is a quarter, you drop in that quarter, that's great. Basket comes around again, you don't have anything, but you know what? You're going to get up and serve and either, help take down the altar afterwards, like a sacristan would. You help, or you go up to Father and say, is there anything I can do for you this week?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no excuse that we can't give of ourselves in some capacity. So.
Absolutely. Yes. I love this. But that also makes me think of one other thing that I know can be a detriment to this. And that is when you have people who are critical of your options, your choices, whether and I think we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier with, talking about supporting other people and things like that. But I find that, like, so much of the time our fear holds us back. And one of the biggest fears is just of people being critical of us. It hurts.
Yeah.
I mean, it really does. Like, especially if they're friends or family. Although nowadays, going online, you take your chances posting anything, and you never know what people are going to come back with and say anything. And, even doing this podcast, I mean, we overcame that fear of, like, what if someone criticizes what we have to say? And it's just, I think that, how do you do that? I'm going to ask you, because you're really good at this. Like, well, okay, I think you're really good at this. I see the look on your face, but, like, you do it anyway. Like, you told me, like, you tell me all the time, whenever I tell you, like, oh, I don't know, I'm like overthinking or whatever, and you're like, fail forward fast, just do it.
Just do it.
But what if? And my accountability partner, Amy, beautiful soul, just, but it is, I will say, like, and you probably think this too, it's easier to tell other people to fail forward fast, but I find that you're still very good at that. Like, you just put it out there. And if, you put yourself out there and I mean, I haven't really seen critics of you or anything like that, but I'm sure that somewhere, someplace you've come across a critic or two in your lifetime.
Yeah. 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 And especially with doing the women's school, when I first came out with the women's school, I remember, and this was like right at the beginning of all of the COVID stuff that was
Oh,
happening.
yeah.
I had posted something and had few, actually a few friends, and somebody that I'm acquaintance with online that I don't know in person, very critical of it, of the work. And I have to say that that really hurt me, and it hindered me to do it again. I was
Yeah.
like, well, I'm not going to post if people are going to be like that. And it's taken me, it took me a while to kind of get over that hump. And
Mhm.
you know what? My son said it perfectly today, and I loved it. He really, Joseph, which he is my 16-year-old, said to my 12-year-old something, and it wasn't, they were just kind of bantering back and forth. And, Francesco, he says, ooh, words, like I'm gonna melt, and I was like, what a beautiful response
Mhm.
to Joseph, which, we just busted out laughing, both of us, because of but it was a very true statement. Ooh,
Yes.
words, really, like, I can, now, I'm not a master at it. I have to pause and reflect. Okay, where's this person coming from? Now I'm a lot more quicker to do that. Where's
Mhm.
this person coming from? Where
Yes.
can where can we meet in the middle?
Right.
Is where I'll try to, know, see if I can, just come up with something that we can both agree on.
Mhm.
Um, or, you know, excuse me, that wasn't kind, or you were way out of line.
Yeah.
That I don't have to contribute anymore to this conversation, because if it's not a two-way street, it's no longer a conversation.
Right.
Why am I going down a one way? The opposite way. Why would I do that to
Yes.
myself?
Kind of like looking for a head-on collision, right?
Pretty much. And so, I'll either walk off conversations, or just pray for that person. Most of the time I'm really good at that, but there's been some doozies.
Oh yeah. You can't be 100% perfect all the time.
Right. Right, right. I really do strive and see if there is a common ground in what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Um, it took me a while to get there, because those comments did hurt. But like my son said, like, they're just words.
Right. Well, it kind of makes you think of that rhyme when we were growing up: sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. I mean, yeah, we can try that. It doesn't always work. And
Right.
and on the flip side of that, I mean, words do have power. Like,
Mhm.
we
Yes,
do
they
have the
do.
power to crush people with our words. We do have the power to build people up with our words. And so, back, but that is, I think that's also the wealth of poverty, or, wealth, poverty, what you were talking about earlier too. You can relate it to that, because a poverty of spirit, I think, like, hurt people. That's a
Right.
script that I use a lot, and I've actually had that way prior to the women's school, but I love that that was something I could bring into this, since you introduced me to the women's school, and having that is helpful, because it is, especially when someone hurts you because they're hurting. It's very hard to just
Mhm.
say, okay, words, don't hurt me. It's like, okay, that really did hurt. But to be able to say, it hurt people. And what is this person going through? And maybe I can empathize, maybe I can pray for them, and that type of thing. So I think that, like, where do we end with that? There's so many good ways we could go there. But we know
Yeah.
that wealth is such a beautiful contribution that we can give to others if we have it, whether it's our time, talent, or treasure. So we'll wrap that part up with that. But then also, we want to make sure we don't allow fear to hold us back from finding that wealth of our time, talent, and treasure, and not sharing our gifts with the world.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Got to trug on, ladies.
Yes, absolutely. But
Jackie, do you have? Oh, go ahead.
Yep. Since it's Black Friday.
I was gonna say, do you have any sales going on?
Let's talk about that. So yeah, I am going to, I'm just super excited that we're coming to this is always the part of year where I actually get excited, not just about the holidays, but also about the new year. Because I feel like the new year is such a great place to go. Okay. I mean, I'm working on myself all year long, but don't we all really focus on the new year being a new you, a new ability to recreate, what? So I want 2024 to be our best year ever. You and I have started just working together on our coaching, doing this podcast together. And I am so excited to think about. So I came up with some Black Friday deals, and Amy and I were talking about this, not our wheelhouse at all, but we did it, right? So I'm going to invite all of the women that I know to come forward, but also to bring your friends with you. This is a huge challenge that I'm going to put out there. And I want to say, bring 5 of your friends. And how about if we make 2024 our best year as a group? We will create a private mastermind group or a masterclass group. And we're going to go through the masterclass together, you and your friends. And also, because you brought those 5 friends with you, I am going to waive your activation fee for the Women's School masterclass. And you and your friends will get a discount of 20% off total. So you're going to basically, you yourself, for bringing these 5 friends, are going to save $540 with me. So that's my group deal. And then if you are an individual, you don't have 5 friends who want to join you on this journey, come anyway, because they're going to be stuck in 6 months and you're going to be like in this beautiful place. So I will also offer, that you can get a free activation fee. You have to do all of this before December 1st. I have all of the details on my website, so I don't have to go through all of them individually, but just know that I want to help women to get unstuck. I think, sometimes we don't realize we're stuck. So I want you unstuck. I want you journeying with me in this beautiful place. Let's see where we can go in 6 months. Do you want to still be stuck, or do you want to be moving forward in a way that I can help you with? So that's my deal. Check it out on the Women of Worth Facebook page and also my business page. Amy, what have you got for us? Because I know you got some really great deals.
Well, Jackie, you definitely want your ladies to be designing who they want to become, right?
Yes.
That's right. So for Dish It Out, which is the company that I came up with, I have a niche of really helping women overcome disordered eating, yo-yo dieting, if you don't want to do yo-yo dieting anymore, or if you've done so many diets and my gosh, if I go on one more diet, I just know I'm going to fail, right? Having that heart to heart with yourself, saying, I just don't want to do it anymore. I want to throw in the towel and just say, the heck with it and all that stuff. No, this is what Dish It Out is designed for, right? So my approach is to sustain health, and I take in the whole woman, and that's the self-image, the health, the mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical, family, friends, intimacy, contribution, environment, and wealth. And so that's the Women's School is my platform that I teach from. but also I teach from being a coach with the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. So I marry those two together and off we go, right? To a better sustainable health for you, right? So my Black Friday is you get your activation fee waived. It's a $700, sorry, $300 savings plus a 10% discount off of my coaching package, which is a savings of 160. So combined together, that's 460 that you get to save on. Plus, I'm going to add in my two Permian veggie shakes. Permian is a phenomenal company, wholeness and wellness company. And these shakes are literally six salads in one easy, drinkable, very tasty shake. And I have noticed differences. My family have noticed differences just in their gut health. And that's something that Permium has a huge array of, just gut health, shakes and probiotics and things of that nature. It's all organic. It's a really high quality. There is no corn syrup in any of their products. They use, I believe, monk sugar. And I think that's it. I think that's what they use is monk sugar in their drinks. So I will throw in 2 premium veggie shakes.
Nice.
And this deal will end on the 30th. So
we are going to post these below too on YouTube on our channel. So that way you can read them and see them in case you're not on our actual pages or whatever. I know some people, yay, join us here. Even if we're not friends on Facebook or, in Facebook groups. So let's also post those links down below for each of our offers. So that way people can find it more easily too while they're watching.
Yes, ma'am. We sure will do that.
Hey,
alrighty.
We're getting this tech stuff down.
We're failing forward fast.
Yes, we are. Well, as usual, it was so beautiful talking to you and sharing with everybody. And thank you for joining us. Those of you who are joining us either live or after the fact, we appreciate you. And we are thankful for you because we're still giving Thanksgiving even after Thanksgiving. So
that's right. That's right. Thank you for your time, your talent, and your treasure.
Absolutely. Go out and conquer. Is that what January says? I love that she says that.
Yes.
That just popped into my head. But also go forth and just share your wealth. Like Amy said, your time, talent, and treasure. Make sure that you are contributing. And we will see you next week with family.
For family.
Family. I love this topic. That'll be exciting. Just in time for the Christmas holiday.
Yes.
All right. Yes. Well, we will see you all next week. Ciao, ciao. We love you.